Agradecemos a participação dos grupos Nós do Teatro e Vocal Frisson. Antes de darmos continuidade à programação, tem alguns breves avisos. Primeiro, é obrigatório o uso do crachá nas dependências do hotel. Informamos também que o conteúdo apresentado pelos palestrantes será disponibilizado na página do evento, 2018.reditec.org.br. Informamos também que, para sua maior comodidade, rádios de tradução simultânea estão disponíveis na entrada do auditório. Aqueles que desejarem, basta levar um documento com identificação. Senhoras e senhores, neste momento, daremos início à programação científica da 42ª Reditec, com a Mesa Redonda. Tendências e desafios da educação profissional e tecnológica no mundo. Para participar desta atividade, convidamos ao palco a presidente do College and Institutes Canadá, Denise Amiot. Convidamos o diretor do Unesco Unevoc, Chiamal Majumdar. E para mediar os trabalhos, convidamos o reitor do Instituto Federal Fluminense, Jefferson Manhães de Azevedo. Lembramos que, ao final das apresentações, abriremos espaço para perguntas, que devem ser feitas por escrito e encaminhadas ao palco por meio da equipe de apoio. Lembrem-se de colocar o e-mail de vocês no papel das perguntas, para caso não haja tempo hábil para respostas, possamos responder por e-mail. Neste momento, Passamos a palavra ao reitor do Instituto Federal Fluminense, Jefferson Manhães de Azevedo.
Good morning, everyone. This panel we will discuss the trends and challenges of Tibet in the world. The future is coming with many possibilities such as globalization, automation, and smart technologies, but also with many threats such as climate change, migration, economic and concentration of power in an increasingly jobless world. Complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, leadership, cognitive flexibility are some of the new skills and competence needed for our youth and workers to be fit for this challenging future world. For me, the great challenge is not how to prepare our youth and your workers to be more suitable in this narrow future, but how to prepare them to build a new and large future where all people are included. It is a great pleasure to be here with two prominent leaders that I greatly admire in order to discuss the trends and challenges of Tibet in the world. To my right, Mr. Shaimal Majumdar is the current director of UNESCO UNIVOC and was professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and engineer of the National Institute of Training and Research of a Technical Teacher in Calcutta, India, with a PhD in Educational Informatics, a Master's in Telecommunications, and a degree in Electronic and Communication Engineering. Undoubtedly, Mr. Shaimal Majumdar has much to contribute to discussions around the theme of this panel. To my left, Denise Amiot is the current president of the Colleges and Institutes Canada, CICAN, an institution that answers for all the support for colleges, institutes, general and vocational education schools, and polytechnic schools throughout Canada. Amiot is a great leader in the defense of post-secondary technical and professional education and is the former president of the World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnics, WFCP. I will now give the floor first to Mr. Shaimal to his presentation and considerations.
Thank you. Can I go there?
Yes.
Microphone? No, that one.
Okay.
No? Yeah. So again, bon dia. Very good morning. Yeah, indeed, I'm very happy for two reasons. First, I like to congratulate CONIF. Doing such a brilliant conference, start with music, then go with the theme. This world is a different world. The presentation I will make, you will see. We not only be technocrat or bureaucrat, we have to be human being first. And I see Conif as a Univox center playing a great role. Thank you very much to all teachers, deans, and everybody who is making this network stronger. I'm second reason to be happy because my co-panelist is from CCAN. They are also doing a tremendous work in Canada as a Univoc, like your network. So when I goes from one country to another, see many consultants speaking, frankly speaking, we are not consultant. We are part of you. You are part of your family member. This is the world. A new world is emerging. Please continue the good work, and we will present you throughout the world in different conferences that will come. So without much ado, my deliberation will be trends and challenges of TVET in the world. I want to go quickly because 25 minutes is my limit, but any questions, I'm here today, tomorrow, please feel free. So what I will cover during this time, first I will give very quickly a snapshot. The world is changing. World is changing very fast, very rapid, unprecedented, which never we have think. Second, technological trends, what is its implications? Then third, transforming TVET, why we need to transform. Fourth, school as a change of innovation, the change concept of TVET school. Then the final question to you, are we prepared to take up this challenge? So this will be my deliberation of the 5. First, look at this. The world is changing the way we work, we play, we live, whatever we do. This pictures that has been demonstrated here is for Norway has done on the fish farming, non-destructive fishing technique using sensor-based technology under the sea and how they do. The right is additive manufacturing, which is nothing but 3D printer being used in medical science for operation, surgery, and everything. On the hospital and healthcare, unprecedented development is taking place, from remote surgery being done without the doctor on the bed, and they are doing the surgery on the remote with using all this intelligence and instrument tools. And the fourth one, hotel, hospitality management, and everywhere, the use of AI, use of digital technology, new kind, learning, that's called learning analytics, big data, cloud computing, using all kind of things are coming, not in a book language, but in a day-to-day operation and functioning. But the major change is happening because, that first, we are changing from divergent technology to convergent technology. What is this? When I was a professor in India, we are teaching electrical engineering, computer engineering, or mechanical engineering, civil engineering. You just go around the world and you will see everywhere the courses name are mechatronics, biotechnology, nanotechnology, material science, and these are all not a single technology. It is number of technology coming together. Like mechatronics, electronics, and mechanical need to be combined and look into that. So this is called convergent technology. The second one, the whole world is changing to the climatic change response from petro energy to bio and renewable energy. And the third changes is happening, third industrial revolution to fourth industrial revolution. What is this fourth industrial revolution is about? The first revolution was on steam, second revolution was on electricity, third revolution was automation, and now we call cyber physical system. Means any object you see, this has a sensor embedded, it will collect the data, and that data will be analyzed, give to the central configuration to the computer, they will take an action and come back. Just simple example. You are coming from office, you forgot that you do not know whether milk is there in your refrigerator or not. Today, we have a refrigerator where they have the sensor. They will give a signal to you in your mobile to say, hello, Shamol, do you know that there is no milk in your refrigerator? If you have to, please buy. Oh, this kind of technology called sensor-based physical systems are coming in a large way. There's a lot of, example, but just to minimize, this is Internet of Things, 3D printer, nanotechnology, hands-free devices, artificial intelligence, big data, learning analytics, so many words. It's totally changing the whole scenario called Fourth Industrial Revolutions. The technology which is coming, information communication technology, biotechnology, emerging convergent technology, mechatronics, space technology, and the green technology. These all are convergent technology. But what is the common about all this thing? First, these are interdisciplinary. Second, this is oriented to research and technology. Means without research and technology, it is very difficult to be a developer and contributor of the system. The third, it will be information intensive. And the fourth, most important is, it's very shorter life cycle. One technology is coming, second technology is replacing, third technology is coming. So it's a wave of technology coming now. So it's a totally different. Then the question now come to us, being a teacher. How can we prepare students for the jobs that do not exist? Means the implication of this is that all technology is that we are not sure that what kind of jobs they will be apply and they will get it, new things will come. Think about a world where we have prepared so far. You have an existing job is analyzed between, okay, you need knowledge, you need skill, you need attitude, and you prepare the graduate. Now, being a graduate sitting before you, and you said, we are not sure, after 5 years, what kind of jobs will become, 30 to 40% jobs will be new, and altogether with the new things. But what you are going to teach? You don't know the occupation which is coming. So this is a big issue. McKinsey has said that the most important challenge of the labor market facing today is to prepare graduate for the job that doesn't exist. So my question to all of you, do you have all the answer? Yes, we don't have final answer to this question. The whole world is searching for answer, how to prepare. That's why network, discussion, opening your mind is so important. When we see within Univoc network this question being posed, we have tried to understand how to handle that one. We came up with the solution. 3 things will be very important. Mere technical skill is not good enough. If you only teaching technical skill, you are not doing to the justice to the coming graduates, Technical skill is necessary, but more first things will come transversal skill, which is in the middle, because of the, PowerPoint is not coming well here. It is nothing but learning to learn skill, how quickly you can learn, adaptability skill if things are changing. There are 2 kinds of transversal skill in important. One, domain-independent generic skill, domain-dependent generic skill. Because I know you are brilliant people, that's why I'm sharing my thoughts here. Domain-independent is easy, like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, analytics. You have a separate kind of module you can prepare. People think if you have that, you can cope up with the new world. No, you are only half glass full. Rest of the half glass is you must have domain-dependent generic skill. What is domain-dependent generic skill? Can you pick up 3D cloud computing and write a network program? Impossible. It is need some kind of basics. So within the cluster skill, it's not mono skill, within the cluster skill, you must have domain-dependent generic skill. You are not preparing for jobs. You are preparing of cluster of skills. So if you know object-oriented programming, those who are computer science will understand me very quickly. It doesn't matter whether you know Java, C++, any language. If your master is in object-oriented methodology, you can pick up any of the language anytime. But many of the institution doesn't understand that. They only teach Java, syntax and grammar. And after some time, Java is outdated and everybody become jobless. So that's why we need to know we are not preparing for just narrow skill. Education become important. That's why it's come foundation skill, STEM. What is STEM? Science, technology, mathematics, engineering, and arts has to be embedded into the education. That gives you the confidence that when the technology change, you have a strong base of science, technology, engineering, and maths. That is the challenge. That's why more and more courses in TVET coming up with this foundation embedded in this. We differ with those people, those who only make screwdriver technology technician. The future is not there. It is for the fundamentals has to be played, transversal skill should be there, and you have to have a specialized skill that is called IoT, Internet of Things, has to be done. Definitely that will be there. So for me, maybe we need to think more now to see the architecture of learning and see how we can really prepare for that kind of skill, which they can cope it up. So with this, I say when you look at the domain-dependent generic skill, it is work attitude, values, interpersonal skill, cognitive skill, and adaptability skill. I think adaptability skill is a huge important one. You cannot complain things has been changed, but you need to adapt quickly. That needs two kinds of soft adaptability and hard adaptability concept. With this understanding, when we look at this issue, we always suggest to the member state. In the inauguration yesterday, it was a brilliance. Many people were saying, we need to invest more on TVET and skill and others. 100% we agree. Before that, we can say, please transform your TVET system first before you invest it. Because if you invest in the old concept, you will boil down to the old result. World has not produced a very nice world for us because we have given too much emphasis on economic dimension. We have not given the social dimension and environment dimension. You see how much penalty we are paying for that now, for a compensation like this. So always we say transform TVET. The first transformation is economic angle. We are committed to the students. They must get job. There is no skill mismatch. So economic dimension is important first. But economic dimension is 1/3. Another 1/3 is the social dimension. If you are not doing inclusiveness, if you are not looking after the disadvantaged group, you are not doing justice, a political problem will come. I can cite a number of countries in Asia-Pacific region. India, being a citizen, I can criticize. The GDP is almost 7 to 9% for last 7 or 10 years. But if you look at the India, there is a shining India that is a poor India. What is the penalty for that? The penalty is social problem is coming. I think when I look at the Brazil is also so complex in that nature. Only development, GDP growth will not be the area. GDP growth with inclusion should be the way we should go forward, and that we call inclusive development. This is not only development. The third is transformative. We need to transform for lifelong learning, this new world that I'm talking, the green technology, how we are going to cope. So we always say, before you scale up, transform the system. Be confident that you are in the right path, in the right directions. With this idea, the major dimension of transformation is one, it should be innovative Tibet. It is not no more simple technical vocational education. I will come what is our idea on innovative Tibet. The basic slogan is you have to develop your school as an innovation hub. Innovation hub is not a monopoly of universities. Innovation can be top and down and bottom to up. And Tibet Center, this technological college, has a major role to play on the innovation hub. Second, lifelong learning. We need to say that those days are gone, that only school to work will be our understanding, but work to school is also important. So I say we are used to a linear path. From school, we are preparing graduate to be ready for workflows, so school to work program. Now I say this is 50%. We need to know work to school, it is a zigzag path. And this zigzag path will take you anytime, anywhere you can entry the programs and come in. So that's another paradigm shift. The third one is the greening Tibet. I think you are doing tremendous good work. I've already aware about this. This is also very, very important, how to make your institution green and responsive to the climatic change. And steaming Tibet. This is a new term we have used from Univoc to say science, technology, engineering, and maths to be embedded in the program. So for that, integrating in the school curriculum. So this 5 dimension has generally will give a new world now. More and more Tibet program are offering at the higher qualification. Level 5, beyond. Level 6, in some country I have seen even PhD being offered by the Tibet institutions. So this is a new world. We have to put a challenge now, level 5 and beyond. And this is actually blurring the relation between Tibet and university education. For that one, there are 2 trends going on throughout the world. Some of the Tibet institutions, slowly we call it academic drift. Their program is including STEM more and more. So it's basically is an academic drift is happening. And whereas higher education people are not getting job because they have no direct contact with the labor market. And major complaint against higher education is you are only preparing graduates, but they are not getting any jobs. So some of the higher education changing offering program on vocational. So there is an academic drift, there is a vocational drift. This is creating a new window of opportunity to all of us. So we are creating a bridge now, like CONIF, if you are starting like master's program, PhD program on technical, logical way, it is actually this new window of opportunity we are explaining. It is no more lower level of weight, it is a higher level of weight. So STEM jobs require TVET qualification, TVET qualification require STEM qualification. That's the precisely we need to understand. So my final point is TVET school as an innovation hub. Very quickly, what is the mean by that? When we say about innovation hub, I think there are many terms are coming up. First, integrating innovation culture, engage ecosystem partners, skill anticipation, whether we do forecasting, analysis, new curricula and qualification, new teaching methods, transversal and technical skill, serving youth, incubation center, all this different idea comes as an innovation. But in Univoc, we started think little systemic way. We say there are 4 steps of innovation, school innovation. The first one, integrating innovation policy in school. Means in your vision, mission, everywhere, you have to integrate the concept of innovation in the school culture. We have to know the world is a change, And this change requires new type of education, new type of skill. And if we don't create an opportunity to the graduates as an innovation hub, school as an innovation hub, we are not doing the justice. Second, we have to do clearly partnership. Partnership with industry, community, and all the stakeholders. They will bring the problem, and you have to discuss together. Even higher learning will be there. It's not only the stakeholders. So it's new kind of ecosystem we need to create, and we will do 5 minutes. Third one is innovative processes. Means you have to embed some processes of innovation. I will come some few examples from our network that is happening. And the final one is innovative products. Think about something. Your school is not just offering a qualification, a paper certificate. They will come up with some kind of, innovative projects. However meager, I have been your school, I think, in very near. I met with 20 students. And I was so impressed, one thing about you on that, the students are painstakingly doing a board, and they are using electronic sensor and trying to find out a, forecast to the fisherman. I immediately said, tremendous good job you are doing, because you are taking a problem of the people, of your locality. Buzos is actually tourism and boat. And if you have a much more higher technology used to give safety to the economic benefit, tremendous good job. And that's called kind of product that can be patented, and later on. There are many examples we can create on that. With this 4, I think we need a new kind of innovative culture. There are few terms throughout the world is going on. One, challenge-based education. People are not only talking problem-based education, it is a challenge. The challenge-based education, Technica, one of the Univox centers, is championing that, saying the world do not need like monodiscipline approach, it is a challenge. What is a challenge? Like fisherman problem is a challenge. How to solve? You need mechanical engineer, you need electronics engineer, you need a sensor, you need informatics. What you need, everybody has to sit down. Is there a policy in your school to have that all teachers sit together, student, co-learner, and has a beautiful where you can solve the problem? If you have, you are right path on the challenge-based education. Idea-based education. Encourage graduate to come with new idea. I'm telling you, we are all old people. Our idea is exhausted. But I really respect these young people. They are so brilliant. They can come up with new idea. Please do not restrict them. Give them opportunity to explore the idea. We will get finally a good result out of it. And innovation-based education. Any innovation that is coming up, encourage that one. So with this idea, there are some training going on using virtual reality, automation, mechatronics, and also we are using, but my final slide, 2 minutes, let's say I'm very perfect on time, is that I'm asking you now, are you prepared to take up this challenge? Do you think it is meaningful to take up this challenge? Then I will say, if you say at least this word, people see things happening and ask why. I dream of things, ask why not. That is the philosophy of the new world. Thank you.
A brilliant explanation. Thank you very much, Mr. Shaimal. After that, Mr. Shaimal's presentation, I will give the floor to Mr. Denise Amiot for her presentation and considerations.
Where was the clicker? Do you have the clicker? Bom dia. It's hard to follow him. So, é grande prazer estar aqui hoje. Gostaria de agradecer aos organizadores pelo convite. Esta é minha quarta visita em seu maravilhoso país. That's about it. It's the first time that Shamal and I follow each other in a presentation, and I find it quite interesting because you will see, without us having talked before, there is a thread in the presentation. So each of you is a leader. You're a leader in your classroom, you're a leader in your institution, you're a leader in your community, and finally, you're a leader in your own country. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. And as a leader, it is very important to remind ourselves of our power as individuals, of our power as institution, and of our power as a system, whether we talked about Reditec, whether we talked about CONIF, whether we talked about ANUT, or Colleges and Institutes Canada, CICAN. And because together we can make a difference. Yesterday, we heard speakers talking about the growth of the IF sector, now almost 155. And the difference, we heard that also, that it makes and has made in the life of either individuals, students, or faculty. And the difference it is making in the community. So today, at one point it will move. Okay, good, it did. So it's my pleasure to be here today to tell you about what our country is doing with respect to those global trends, and as it relates especially to the post-secondary landscape. And you will see there are things that will be familiar to you and others may not be, and I do hope it will inspire you to be a change maker. So Shamal said, are we prepared? So I'll touch on some of those big challenges that we are facing in the post-secondary sector, and what our extraordinary members across our country are doing, in fact, with respect to those challenges. So who we are, in fact, we heard earlier, we are the voice of all the colleges, CEGEPs, polytechnics across our country in the Applied Learning Center. So like you, we're a big country, and we're almost everywhere. I'm proud to say that 95% of the Canadian population live within 50 kilometers of a learning center or a campus. And this, yes. This means that 1,800 rural and remote communities, which represent 65% of our rural and remote population, is served. And this includes 80% of Indigenous Canadians, but not all yet. So So our extensive network, in fact, means that we have about 500 locations across the country. This is a lot of locations, a lot of opportunities. And of course, I'm not talking about what is available online. So Canada and other parts of the world offer a unique proposition. First, because of many, many pathways. Pathways from high school to college, college to university, but also university to college. And it's also work to college, more and more for upskilling and reskilling or dual credits with high school and college system. Applied research. This is something that there are only 5 countries in the world that are doing applied research at the college level, and we are very, very proud of that. Degree granting, yes, Shamal talked about those degrees, higher educations to ensure, and we do have some members that even have masters now. Postgraduate credentials, where we see a lot of university students coming back, either after their degree or after 2 years saying, that's not for me, I don't feel connected, and then they come for a year, and guess what? They find a job, and they find a great job, and they have a great career. And up to 34, having some post-secondary education. This is due in large part because of the diversity of programs offered and the high attainment rate at the college level. And we are very, very proud of this. Now, good news. International students. This shows you the growth in international students in our country. And in 2017, we have seen an increase of 32% from the previous year. So the word is being shared that, yes, it's great to be able to study in Canada. And for the first time last year, we saw larger proportions of international students applying for a study permit associated with a college than a university. First time ever. Unfortunately, the overall approval rate remains significantly lower for college and institute. Guess why? Because there are still people that do not understand what professional and technical education and training is all about. And they see, oh, there's a student that has a background at university and they want to study in a college. No. But in fact, they do not know that many Canadians do that. And that's why we do a lot of lobbying, advocacy with people so that they better understand the system. So, and we're extremely proud to have Brazilian students among our ranks. So now you may wonder why. Why is Canada so popular? Canada is safe, welcoming, you know about that. The quality of education and its reputation, job placement, very, very high if you have studied in professional and technical education and training. And yes, international students can work. Many countries in the world where international students cannot work while they study. And after that they have studied, if they studied for 1 year, they can work for a year. If they've studied for 2 years, they can work for 2 years and up to 3 years. And of course, the large variety of programs. So when Shamal says, are we ready? So now let's look in details about how are we ready. So the global trends. So the next one, you've seen page like that, I'm sure. Every day in the news, sometimes we may even think that robots are taking over the world. We're not there yet. but the future of education is shaped by what is happening in the world and in the workplace. So let's look at some global trends now. So the one, Shamal mentioned technology disruption. So what I will do for each of those, and I will go quickly, I have 10 of those challenges, and I will give you an example of how Canada is doing with respect to each of those challenges. And I'm sure for many of those, you could give me another example with respect to what Chile is doing, with respect to what Australia is doing, or with respect to what Brazil is doing. And I do hope to hear about those in the question period. So, given that I started with robots, I thought maybe the first one I should talk about is technology disruption. So, very interesting, last week in our country, a college, George Brown College, announced the first certificate in our country on blockchain. How many of you have heard about blockchain yet? Raise your hand. Wow, only about 10 people have heard about blockchain. Imagine now there's a course in Canada for a full year where the only thing you talk about is blockchain. What it does, how do you do it, how does it work, what's the potential? And this is around the corner. It is around the corner, and it will change completely the way we function, the way we work, the way we play, the way we learn as well. So that's the first one. The second one, shifting demographics. This one? Okay. Okay. Okay, shifting demographics. Okay. So, shifting demographics is very important. In many, many parts of the world, what's happening now is that our population is aging. Beside Africa and some countries, there are very, very few countries where we're not talking about an aging population. And you know what? For people like me, this is scary, because not enough people begin to think about these aging populations, and there are less and less youth that will be there for work. And who will look after this aging population? So in our country, there are quite a few programs now about gerontology or about services to this elder population. And there are even centers of research, such as Sheridan College in Ontario, that has a center for innovation in senior cares, and where they are looking at how can we enhance the quality of life for older adults while serving as an education and research hub. Last week, I talked to another institution in Montreal, ITHQ. They focus on culinary arts and gastronomy. Now they are starting research on how to encourage people at the end of their life to want to eat and to make the food more attractive. I'm sure some of you have had parents that were dying, and you know how it is at the end. They don't want to eat. But imagine, there's now research going on to help people to care, that care enough to convince and find a way that the food will be attractive for those people on their bed. Third one, diversity of learners. I talked about demographics, about the aging populations, but what is changing also at the post-secondary level is the type of learners that we have. We have them all now. And there are issues, there are problems that were not there before that we have to face now, because we talked about education for all. You all know about the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is very, very important, and it means that within this diversity, there are needs that need to be addressed by people like us in the post-secondary system. We need to ensure that we have everything from a welcoming campus, an accessible campus, ensuring we have valuable services and tailored support for the needs of students, whether they are disabled, whether they have some challenges mentally. And so I'll talk about mental health because this is an issue that in fact is affecting not only the world of work, but the world of our education system. It's a big issue for students, but also for faculty. And so there are now many institutions that specialize and have specific mental health program and services. And this is extremely, extremely important. So for example, Langara College and the Justice Institute now, in all their programs, whether they teach paramedics or personal support workers or other first responders, they include notions of mental health. Do we do that in all the programs that we teach in our institutions? And if not, why not? Fourth one, indigenous learners. Same thing as in Brazil. For Canada, we have an important proportion of indigenous learners. And this is part of our diversity. And we need to ensure that we give all the support we can to indigenous students. Canada has focused for the last years on reconciliations with its indigenous peoples. And colleges and its institutes are leaders in our country to help with this reconciliation because they are community-based and located in many of those local and remote areas. So let me give you an example of how it is being done. There's a college in Yukon. Yukon is in the north of our country. And at Yukon College, they work very, very closely with the 14 Yukon First Nations to give the opportunity to learn from indigenous leaders and professionals, while connecting researchers with indigenous communities to help find solutions to northern challenges. And by doing this, they created this Institute of Indigenous Self-Determination that is so crucial. I would have many other examples. Fifth, internationalization. Whoop. So very, very important. We live in a very quickly changing world. I'm sure you've heard about, I call it Trump's America. You've heard about Brexit, and both of them are demonstrating how closing borders and narrowing protection and narrow protectionist worldviews are changing the immigration and international student landscape. And in our country, it's the opposite right now. We have a Canadian liberal government that stand on open borders. And so to give you an example of how colleges and institutes are adapting, we have a college in Toronto that is called Centennial College. And they have identified 6 learning outcomes for all the students that study in their institutions, no matter what is the program. So if you come out from Centennial College, you necessarily have those 6 learning outcomes that range from identifying the roles and responsibilities of what it is to be a global citizen, to your personal and social responsibility initiatives at the local, national, or global level. Sixth one, linking industry and labor market information. Extremely important. Our country, in few days, will have legalized the use of cannabis. And yes, higher education systems have adapted already. The colleges and institutes in our country decide, hey, we will need people that know about cannabis, the production, as well as research on cannabis, the cultivation, its commercialization, and so immediately they started to offer programs with respect to cannabis. 7, changing models of work. We live in a gig economy. Things will change. No more of this, you start your career and then you end up in 30, 35 years. So because of that, entrepreneurship is becoming very, very important, and that's why all our programs now include elements of entrepreneurship. So for example, we even have a college that focus on an institute of indigenous entrepreneurships to ensure that it is culturally savvy and it is based on the values and culture of indigenous people. 8, climate change. And you can see Shamal talked a lot about those different challenges. Example, we have a college in Nova Scotia Community College. Every faculty, as soon as they start at that college, they have to take 39 hours of training on sustainability, and it is to look at how will they include sustainability notions, whether they teach arts, whether they teach mechatronics, or whether they teach photonics. So very, very important aspect. Lifelong learning, again, very, very important. So let me give you an example of what Lethbridge College in Alberta did. There were a lot of laid-off oil and gas workers that were seeing their job disappearing because of the price of oil and gas around the world. So what they did, they were retrained as wind turbine technician because they have all the basic skills that were needed. And in a very short time, they were able, again, to be functional. And the last one, I cannot, when I do presentations like this, not talk about parity of esteem, because there are still so many people that do not know about professional and technical education and training. And the new platform that I saw last night of Technopop, in fact, will be an example of what Brazil is doing with respect to parity of esteem, to ensure that people know about those great jobs, what they are, what kind of career you can have. And in our country, it's the same thing. And one of the things we did, we eliminated the expression TVET about 30 years ago. And I know that Brazil has done the same, has eliminated that expression. So now I'm coming to my dream, and this is the conclusion. So what's my dream? My dream is the SDG, education for all. This is crucial, crucial. We owe it to generations that are following us. Parity of esteem. I know that Europe is starting European TVET week, but why not a global week for professional and technical education and training? Student mobility. both domestic and international, because I know you live in a big country like Canada, and it's important that there be domestic mobility within our country and also international mobility. And finally, education reform. We talked about the needs to change, because learning used to be only in an educational setting. Now you can have learning everywhere, 24/7. We don't have the monopoly of that. And what I'm dreaming is prior learning assessments, so that we will stop teaching students what they already know, and also a universal recognition systems. Now Europe has the Bologna process, but why not a universal recognition around the world, so that it's not hard for students to change from one country to the other. Obrigada, merci beaucoup, thank you.
Now is our turn, our responsibility to ask for our panelists some questions, some doubts, and for that it's important to write down probably a little paper. It's possible our support team give you all some piece of paper to write down some questions and to ask for these two great people beside me. Shaimal show us TV trends in big picture, and Denise show us in the more practical way how we'll do that in our country. And I admire a lot Canada, and I think we have a lot of similarities, big countries, and we can develop a lot of projects like Mulheres Mil, 1,000 women in Brazil, inspired in a great experience in Canada, and result of our partnership. Okay, Denise? My colleagues, we would like a lot if you ask for us, not for me, for my partners here, to listen more about some details that probably we want to know from the Univoc experience and the Worldville and the Canada experience, okay? No doubt. My colleague is so shame. Okay, first off, yes. No microphone? Okay. A minute, another. Nós vamos abrir uma exceção para que a nossa primeira colega possa fazer oralmente, mas nesse tempo pedimos para que os demais colegas pudessem escrever. Ok? Pode ser?
Oi.
It's important to say your name, your institution, ok?
Oi.
Muito obrigada pela apresentação. Na verdade, eu ia escrever, mas para ganhar tempo, eu vou perguntar então oralmente.
Please.
So my name is Adriana Balducci. I'm here representing the British Embassy in Brazil. And thank you very much for both very brilliant presentations. My question is to Shyamal. I found it very interesting, your explanation on the different skills that are important to globalization, to the future. And I would love to hear from you on the importance of language skills in Tibet, notably of English. So in Brazil, studies show that only approximately 5% of the population actually can speak English. So I would love to hear from you the trends in Tibet related to language skills, specifically on English, not only as a skill important to the greater insertion in the labor market, to innovation, to entrepreneurship, but also English as a tool. For example, if you take a look at methodologies such as EMI, English as a mean of instruction, to have access or to develop other skills. So thank you very much.
It's the first one. We have another right here, Shaimal. How to approach something I consider also important, compassion and care for others. You can make some considerations, okay?
I think this is an international discussion going on that the language become a very key factor for communications. I don't want to make a flat, comment here to say that English will be the only language that a person need to know. But if you look at the contextual part, in many of the countries, it is true that English language is the most important way of communication. What I will suggest to the member states is that you look at your own context. Like in India, just give you an example. We don't have any language which covers all, the population of the country. We have 1.2 billion country. So major language here is around 30, which is those who are on the parliament has already approved. But there are 1,000 something language dialects are going on, like in Brazil, the complexity. So we have official language like, educated people. We talk with South India, North India, East India, everywhere in English. And that's the way we communicate only with us. But when it comes to the, population of, those who are at the rural and others, in North India, they speak only Hindi. But when South India, government tries to adopt that language, South India protested. They say, why not it is our Tamil language will come in. So languages is really complex. I just give you an India example, but I feel that in terms of English has much more, higher age. And if you look at the percentage which is covered with the Anglo, Saxon and the related, I think I agree, but I don't want to make a comment here because I know other language people will say, why you are saying this? Why not France? Why not others language? So it is you to decide, but definitely international language as a English has a higher things to do. Regarding the second questions, I think my take will be right. Thinking to others is compassionate, respect is already there. When you say global citizen, one of the thing is that I think what is missing in this world is that we have trained people only for jobs or sometime for own career development only. But actual crisis is peaceful living, prosperous living with environment and the system around you. So one of the thing is I think we are really lacking on compassionate care, respect to others, sensitivity. These are very, very important. We can criticize people like politicians now when they are taking the right direction. I don't want to name, like in America is happening, many other countries is happening. It is quite unfortunate that some of the people are supporting that. And why? If education becomes so insensitive, then what for education we are talking? Is this education really helping the world to grow? So I fully agree this respect to others, community feeling, it should come from the early childhood education. And maybe something we have done a mistake, the elderly people. We have not upbringing our students in a right kind of passion, you know, which is necessary. Yes.
Denise, do you like to make some considerations about the things? And you have some question directly for you, okay? And what do you prefer?
One or the other. Okay. Did you address the language one? Yeah, just. Okay, because I have something to add with respect to the language one. It's very interesting because it's a scientific research that has shown that if you speak a second language, your symptoms of Alzheimer won't be as strong, or they will arrive later. So you have a vested interest in learning a second language. On that, I'm pleased to report that in Montreal, 20% of the population, in fact, speak 3 languages. We're not like Europe yet, but it is the city in our country where there are the most people that speak, in fact, not 2 languages, but 3 languages. And I have to say, it's crucial for our population to speak a second language because it opens your horizon, it opens your heart, it opens also your mind to other culture and another way of thinking. I have a questions with respect to mental health issue. And the person asked, how do you deal with mental health issues in the curricula? So first, by ensuring we talk about it. We talked about it in all the programs. It's ensuring also that there's training for faculty, that there's training for students to identify mental health, what are the symptoms and how to deal with it and know about the resources. And one of the things that happened in our country recently, we have our telecom company that was providing a lot of funding for post-secondary educations to deal with mental health. And they thought we won't be able to support everybody, so they approached our association and our sister organizations of Universities Canada to develop a framework about mental health issue, about identifying, assess your own institution in what you do, a kind of a benchmark, if you want, and you assess your institution about what you do well, what you don't do well, and how to deal with it, and exchanging best practices. So we're very, very exciting of this new initiatives that we just announced a few weeks ago, and we believe it has the potential to make a huge difference for both students as well as faculty.
Thank you very much. I will challenge the audience and said that the audience is shy, but we have a lot of questions, but our time is over. And I will ask for each one that write down and make a question. Please find our colleague Edmeia to put your email, and we will pass to our speakers, and we will send back the response, okay? And now, yes, I will pass for the speaker for the last statement, and Denise would like to make an announcement for all of us, okay?
Yeah. I think I like to say the last statement little standing, you know. The reason is, the last statement, in a sense, we are saying there is no last. We are beginning. I only have to say that world has totally changed. And this is a totally new world that we are facing. We try to share some of the experience. But the answer is we are not sure. We have more question than answer. This is the reality. So how to solve this issue of dilemma? We have observed one thing very clearly. If you are confined only with your own institution and thinking, never you will able to solve the problem. You need to open up. Means, I'm not saying only you, in the entire world, we see the solution lies everywhere, here, there, here, there. Not a single country is giving you the final answer. It's a world with a multipolar, and the power, knowledge is distributed. So we have 245 Univox centers in 167 countries. When I look at that, each one is going to offer something and say, I have done this one in a way. And I like to encourage that word, that how, say, Latin America, different countries are solving the problem, how Asia Pacific is running the problem, how Canada is handling today, you have seen, and other region. So to me, you have a huge network, fantastic network. I'm really outside the world, they do not know about you much. That's the reality I'm telling you. But you are doing a lot of innovations. But my own slogan is that the agenda today has been set by the world is a global, it needs global response, and we will work together to solve that problem.
Great.
Music, please. And you want me to make the announcement at the same time? Okay. Okay, good. I cannot say more than what Shamal has said. He said it all, and it's crucial. And for me, the reflection and the illustrations about how, in fact, Brazil is tackling the issues around the world is the presentation we saw before, our two presentation of the students. You know, when you talked about the Me Too movement, there are different solutions. One is not talk about it, but I believe, sincerely believe, and I believe the students showed it to us, we need to be vocal, we need to talk about it, and we need to address the situations. And I will go back to Gandhi, who said, be the change you want to see in the world, because I really think this is part of the solution. Now, Brazil, my announcement, Brazil and Canada has a long history of working together. Some of you are very familiar with the project Mulheres 1000, the 1,000 women project that was a fantastic success for the two countries, in fact, because we learned as much in the process as the participants in that project, and also with Science Without Borders, and then the pilot projects where we had teachers coming in our country for 3 months to learn 3 things: applied research, applied learning, and working with the industry. And Brazil is an important country for us, and in the past years, we were very pleased to offer bursaries for Brazilian students. And last year, for the first time, we also had Canadian students coming to Brazil to better know your culture, your language, and also hopefully lead to partnerships later when those students have a career. So it's my pleasure to announce that we will, working very closely with CONIF on the terms and conditions, we will be announcing very soon, but I guess you have a head start. We will be announcing new bursaries, in fact 5 new bursaries that are similar in value to the bursaries of Science Without Borders. So 5 students will be coming to Canada, 5 students from Brazil. We are very, very excited about that, and we do hope that one of those students, in fact, will be an indigenous student, as well as women that will be coming. And hopefully it would be great if one of those women would be one of the women that participate in Mujeres Mil. For us, this would really complete the cycle. And we will also have 9 Canadian students that will receive some funding of way less value than the other one. Don't tell them. To come to Brazil to both study as well as live your culture. So we're very, very excited about those new bursaries for students, and we do hope that our collaboration with Brazil will continue because we cherish it very much. Thank you very much. Obrigada.
Great news, great news. Gostaria muito de agradecer. Thank you very much, Shaimal. Thank you very much, Denise. Agradeço imensamente a todos vocês. Em nome da organização da Reditec, quero dizer que é um grande prazer tê-los aqui conosco neste tempo de grandes discussões. Então, nós vamos ter agora um pequeno, e vai ter que ser muito pequenininho, break, porque nós vamos ter agora um encontro, né, uma discussão com a nossa Secretaria de Educação Profissional e Tecnológica, apresentando suas políticas e trazendo questões também para a nossa reflexão, tá bom? Muito obrigado a todos vocês, um rápido intervalo e voltaremos em breve aqui. Muito obrigado.
Conforme dito, faremos um breve intervalo. Peço por gentileza que se atentem ao horário, pois em 15 minutos, pontualmente, retomaremos as atividades. queiram ocupar seus lugares. Em poucos instantes, daremos continuidade à programação da Reditec 2018.